This is a Sports Catastrophe production. Hey there, ho there. It's Jeff Cutter Diamond welcoming you to another Sports Catastrophe on this day. And on this day, October the 8th, 1956, Don Larsen did something that we thought could never be done. A perfect game in the World Series. Now, I know Seattle Mariner fans also remember October 8th being the day of the double in 1995. Remember that famous hit by Edgar Martinez that scored the winning runs to get Seattle to the ALCS and saved Seattle baseball from moving to another city, probably Tampa. Well, I apologize for that, but it just happened to be on the worst possible day. I would have done the double. I would have done something about it. But of course, Don Larsen's perfect game outshines them. So on a decent Monday afternoon in the Bronx, Don Larsen was pitching Game 5 of the World Series against the Brooklyn Dodgers. Brooklyn were the defending World Series champions and winning in 55, ironically, at Yankee Stadium in Game 7. Larsen's perfect game obviously is the only perfect game in the history of the World Series and is only one of 23 perfectos in MLB history. Larsen's perfect game actually broke a drought of 34 years since the last perfect game by Charlie Robertson in 1922, which was amazing. Larsen's perfect game was the only postseason game in which any team faced the minimum 27 batters until Kyle Hendricks and Adonis Chapman of the Cubs did it in 2016 NLCS Game 6. That wasn't a combined no-hitter or a perfect game. That was because the Dodgers, when they got their runners on, they got erased by double plays and all that. So, some context. Don Larsen pitched Game 4 of the 55 World Series and got blown out of the water by the Dodgers. The Dodgers won Game 7, of course. Larsen only pitched. Yankees and Dodgers would bump each other in the 1956 World Series. The Dodgers won Game 1 thanks to Sal the Barber Meglett. And Casey Stengel figured that Larsen should start Game 2 against Don Newcomb. Sadly, though, Larsen struggled. The Yankees were winning 6-0 against the Dodgers, and yet he blew it. He only lasted 1 2/3 innings. Then the Dodgers won the game 13-8. The Yankees would win Games 3 and 4 to tie it up. And then Game 5 on home turf, they were looking for help. NBC was broadcasting the game in front of the whole country. All that. It was 2-2. Don Larsen would face Sal Meglett. The Yankees would need just 2 runs. Mickey Mantle went deep in the 4th, and Hank Bauer hit an RBI single in the 6th. But the one thing about Larsen's perfecto was he only needed 97 pitches, which is pretty good if you can pitch a complete game with under 100 pitches. And only one Dodger batter got to a 3-ball count. That was Pee-wee Reese. Larsen was shocked because he had good control, but he really didn't have good control. The closest the Dodgers got to a hit was in the second inning when Jackie Robinson hit a line drive off of third baseman Andy Carey's glove, but the ball caromed straight to Gil McDougall at shortstop, who threw Robinson out by a step. And also in the 5th inning when Mickey Mantle made that beautiful backhanded catch off of Gil Hodges' fly ball in left center. There were some low line drives that could have been hurt, but no. Anyway. So, anyway. Meglett only gave up 2 runs. He was actually perfect through 3 innings himself, but Mantle's home run broke the scoreless tie. So in the top of the 9th, Carl Ferraro came up and flew out to Bauer. Campanella grounded out to Billy Martin, who was still playing for the Yankees. Yes, that Billy Martin. And then Larsen would face pinch hitter Dale Mitchell because the 9th spot was the pitcher's spot. Larsen got out of the count 1-2 on Mitchell and struck him out. Mitchell tried to check his swing, but it was a strike anyhow. Mitchell couldn't believe it. But the most important thing was when after strike three, Yogi Berra would jump into Larsen's arms after the final out, which was amazing. The funny thing about the Don Larsen thing was that he was the last living player who played in the famous Game 5 in 1956. Everyone else, Yogi Berra was the second last person to be living after that in 2015, and then in 2020, Larsen died on New Year's Day. So Larsen beat Maglet with Mantle's home run being the hero and all that. It was amazing. All that. So, yeah. But remember, that NBC broadcast this game. Mel Allen and Vin Scully were calling the games. Now, back in those days, NBC would have the main play-by-play guys of the two teams in the World Series. Of course, the Yankees was Mel Allen, the Dodgers being Vin Scully. And they would call the game. They would rotate, all that. But then at times, and then NBC, I think in 66, they changed the formation that they would have a main play-by-play guy, maybe Kurt Gowdy, and would have the home team's main play-by-play announcer. I remember that in 1969 that, Kurt Gowdy called some innings, and then Lindsey Nelson of the Mets called some innings in that famous Game 5 in 1969, which I will talk about in a future video. So anyway, it was actually announced in 2006 that they found a nearly complete kinescope recording of the telecast, which was preserved and discovered by a collector. The kinescope recording basically was huge because this reminded a lot of viewers about, after 2006, it was found out there was another kinescope recording in black and white to do with the Yankees Pirates Game 7 from 1960, thanks to Bing Crosby. Because Bing Crosby wanted to have Game 7 recorded because he was out doing movies. So anyway, the black and white kinescope recording aired during MLB Network's first ever Night on the Air, January 1st, 2009, with an interview of Larsen and Yogi Berra by Bob Costas. The first inning is still considered lost. So nothing happened. Anyway. So the film was lost for 50 years until Saul Terry found it against a New York trip. Oh, yeah. So it was great and all that. On the radio, Bob Wolf would broadcast it for Mutual Broadcasting System. Handling the play-by-play duties for the latter part of Don Larsen's Perfecto, Bob Wolf strictly adhered to the tradition of not talking about a no-hitter or perfect game while it was still in progress. He would basically say that's 21 in a row retired by Larsen. And he also said, you who are listening are well informed of the drama that Larsen holds right within his pitching hand. So, yeah, very professional. However, that didn't mean the Yankees won the World Series because that game made them up 3-2. Game 6, the Dodgers would win in 10 innings, 1-0. However, the Yankees would win Game 7, 9-0, easily. Larsen was given the World Series MVP for some reason. So, anyway, that was huge. Now, of course, everyone knows about Don Larsen's career is that he really wasn't that great of a pitcher. He lost 20 games one year with the 1954 Baltimore Orioles. So, yeah, Don Larsen was just lucky. Unfortunately, Larsen also liked the private life, like the nightlife and all that, and crashed his car into a telephone pole one spring training. So he was a little reckless, if you ask me. But anyway, Larsen, even though he was below 500 in his pitching career, he still had that one magic moment, and people can't take that away from him. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. I do.